Welcome to the Best for the World live broadcast. My name is Jens Rinnelt. I'm joined today by Paham Shafti from ForThisWorld, Unite in Purpose. What a great name for a project. Uh, it's no surprise that we need to talk to you about the project, and I'm honored to have you here. Welcome, Paham.
Hello, Jens, and hi everyone else, change makers out there. Good to be in this call with you guys. So for this world and best for the world. Yeah, it's a good match. So I couldn't resist when I got asked to join in, of course.
Yeah, that's great. Can you give us a small summary of what is for this world?
Well, as the name might suggest, so it's for this world. And what is for this world is that I will give you some backstory, but the short explanation is that there is a lot of good ideas and willpower out there. I guess some who are listening to this conversation, hopefully, who are trying to do a lot of to create solutions that are best for the world. And we see that all of us, we're scattered all over the world in our own different small separated islands. And our intention is to bring us together in a unified platform where we can find each other based upon our different purposes and to see how we can enable conversations and collaboration that can help us create a more conscious platform for new innovations and solutions to take form. So basically, it's a collaboration platform for change makers that is in development.
Yeah, you touched already upon why this is relevant in these times, because there are so many great initiatives out there, and I think some they don't even know what other initiatives are out there or how they can relate to them. And I mean, we had already also sessions during the weekend which basically highlighted a lot the co-creation aspect. So this is really a platform where people, organizations, initiatives can find each other and find co-creation, find a way for co-creation, united in purpose. Do I understand it correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. And I can give you some examples, actually. If we see what is happening around the world at the moment with the corona situation, there is a lot of frustration and energy, ups and downs. And just in my own bubble, I've been seeing that there is a lot of new alliances, I guess Best for the World, this project that you are doing is one of them as well, is that people start to see that, okay, well, we can't do this alone. Well, we have tried our own ways for decades, trying to fight other challenges, but now this big pandemic have brought us together to see that, okay, well, we are in this together. And there's these new alliances. They are in form of innovation contests, hackathons, communities online, podcasts, etc., where people unite in purpose against fighting Corona. And what I see is that, again, what the same mistake is being repeated, unfortunately, because I mean, it's not in a conscious way, because I guess we just haven't had the way, but we're still operating in maybe a bit larger bubbles, but we're still in different separated islands. And I've seen this type of hackathons against Corona take place in Switzerland, in Sweden, in wherever you want to name it. There's a lot happening at the moment. And I've been just, observing them and seeing that, the solutions, they are actually doing it. The one thing they're doing right, many of them at the moment, is that they are going open source. and they're making those solutions visible. So I've been seeing, and I've been seeing patterns that, well, they are actually trying to do what they are doing over here. I don't think they know about each other. So imagine if there was a way for new ideas, new initiatives, to come and just find easy way find out if their idea has been done or is being done somewhere else, so that they can instead take another approach, or maybe contribute to that project and enhance what is happening there. So yeah, that is what the whole idea of why the whole idea for this world came to be. Yeah, I saw this happen not only in Corona a few years back, but in any sustainability area. People are doing good for the world with limited resources, with the same type of challenges the small entrepreneurs and innovators have. And it's not just them, it's happening in all sectors, in public admin, academy, businesses. All of us are speaking about more or less the same thing, but we are doing it in our own island. So yeah, the whole aspect is, let's get together and see, either we find collaboration or co-creation, or we just become conscious of what is actually really needed, what matters most, so that we leave that competitive mindset that has been our operating system for so many years, because market has been driving innovations, to see, okay, what can we do for the world?
Yeah, it is really about creating new connections, right? Creating new relationships, as you said, in order to become, on the one hand, conscious of all the great activities that are out there, and understanding maybe on a broader picture in which direction are we going. So what are the collective priorities right now, but also in the way of finding cooperation or collaboration possibilities. If I'm doing, I don't know, something, as you said, as an example, currently working against coronavirus, then I can reach out to other organizations with the same purpose. And as I said before, unite in purpose and collaborate for the same reason, because it is you're actually working for a larger cause that is larger than your own project or your own entity. Before we go into the more specific aspects of the platform and how it works and where it is currently, I just want to spend a minute on how is this related to your story? What is your personal journey leading up to this?
So my background is that I used to be a consultant. I was working with brand development, and during those years, I was going through some personal transformation. I had come to a place where I wasn't really feeling comfortable, just doing business as usual. I started to go within myself. I meditated, and I started to understand my values, self-leadership. And the more I became conscious about myself and my ideal, I also became conscious about what is happening out there in society. And that we are going through rapid changes, that some are visible for majority of us, some are going underneath because they are interacting with each other. And it's creating two different streams. One being the positive aspect, which is that technology, for example, is connecting us in ways that we haven't been able to before. We see each other beyond our own borders. And that is creating also a foundation for the second trend, which is that all these rapid accelerating changes create a lot of fear and uncertainty about where are we going. We don't know that. Anything can happen. A pandemic can happen. And to simplify it, I saw many years ago that we are at a converging point where we can use all the positive aspects that in this transformation to move us to the next step, next phase of humanity, to come together and build a new society based upon positive values. Or we can let all these negative aspects, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, take us toward a different route, which is also being used by some structures, people who are doing things for their own personal gain. So yeah, this is a very simplistic way of describing it. So, but yeah, so we're going like this. So I asked myself, how can I contribute to us course correcting and taking the way to a brighter future? And I had already started to develop my philosophy that when people come together in purpose and start collaborating on developing and launching ideas that can become products, services, places, they're the pillars of society. And if those ideas are not based upon those positive values and a higher purpose, we're not going to take the course toward a brighter future. So I made that my niche to see how I could help organizations to find their purpose, a higher purpose, the social function in their business models. So I did that for a few years, and during those years, I started to understand the spectrum of how we are committed to doing good. From the people and organizations who haven't started to ask themselves, the relevant questions, maybe even ignoring the fact that we need to take responsibility, all the way to those people who are super committed and maybe even having it as their own calling, which I believe many people in that spectrum has, and everyone in between, of course. So there is a range. And what I started to see is what I've been just saying earlier in this conversation, is that there's a lot of great ideas, people, organizations who are trying to do good, but that they are separated all over the world. Even in a small city like Stockholm, where I live, people, there's a lot of co-working spaces, communities, people are doing their own thing and everything is good. So I'm not criticizing anything, but we don't see each other and we don't use resources and the knowledge that exists within this movement in a manner where we can fast track the transition to a better world. And so a question started to pop up, which was, how can we get all these people to find each other, see each other? What would happen then? And that started a journey which has been taking 2.5 years for me to really understand the jobs that are in between these groups. The functional jobs. There's jobs that are in the everyday life. So beyond the big idea of uniting people in purpose, what are they actually trying to do in their everyday life where we could actually bring value? So it's been about boiling down a big idea into a product, basically. Make it down to earth and say, okay, is it applicable? Will it be something that people would like to have, not just because the idea feels good in the stomach, but they actually have usage for it as well. And it's been a challenge to find that, because the idea was so big. So we needed to really see, okay, where are we actually coming in? Are we going to go toward the educational part of this? Are we going to create physical workshops, meetings? How are we going to do this? And the final, where we are at the moment, it's not the final, sorry, is that we have concluded that in order for us to actually make this change visible as broad as possibly, the only way of doing it is to do it digitally. because that's only then where we can connect people into one room. So I believe that you and me, Jens, we share some purposes.
Definitely.
We reached out to each other a few years back based on the purpose. So imagine if internet wasn't there, we wouldn't have found each other.
No, exactly. It's a perfect example.
Yeah. And I think if I recall right, I was doing some Googling and searching, and your name and your blog post came up. But I was lucky to find you. And that doesn't happen, serendipitously all the time for the millions of initiatives out there. So that's what we want to enable, conscious serendipity.
Yeah, it's really nice. You said this. You are creating right now a platform, virtual platform, and it's under development. Can you give us a little bit update on where you are, and then what are the specific features that you are currently developing?
Yeah, so we are in a design phase. The previous phases has been really about understanding. So it's been meetups, interviews, going to conferences, understanding who are going to be using the platform. What jobs are we going to fill? What is the value proposition? And what is the process that is being going to take place in the platform? Is it just going to be a community where we just hang out? Or is it going to be something more? And our conclusion is that there is enough communities out there, social networks. So we're not going to compete creating a social network. We're not creating a Facebook, which it could sound like, or LinkedIn, but it has functions that resembles some of the aspects that is needed to create conversations. The foremost part of it is an algorithm that will categorize all the initiatives that are signing up on this platform, people and initiatives, based on various parameters. The usual factors will be where you are based, geographic, who you're working, who is working with these different initiatives, who you're trying to create your solution for, what is the challenge that you're solving? Is it connected to the SDGs? Which SDGs? And the biggest and most important part is how are they interconnected? So we are using a database solution that can connect different nodes based upon very complex information to make it easy to search for initiatives that are actually hard to find. Mm-hmm. So that is the search function, and the matchmaking function that is also connected to the algorithm is one of the main solutions. The second solution is that it's going to be an innovation process happening in there as well. So we have existing solutions, but we also see that there is a lot of good ideas that haven't started to become a proper solution. So the matchmaking solution that we spoke of will recommend people to different rooms. We call them mission rooms. Mm. And these mission rooms have different phases, from launch padding to implementation, where different stakeholders, based upon the needs they have, are coming in the specific spot in that process, where the initial phase is about identifying, defining, and launching a mission to see, okay, we have this challenge for this specific target audience, and this is the outcome that we want to see happen. This is the mission. And it becomes a project brief, a mission brief that opens up basically a crowdsourcing stage where we ask people, innovators, entrepreneurs, anyone, any citizen who have an idea on how to solve this challenge can come in and start ideate. They can take an idea from embryo stage all the way to a final concept in a structured process. And
Yeah.
we are also looking at ways of seeing how we can get the ideas that are being moved forward in a democratic way, so we don't have any experts, sitting at the end of in a jury saying that your idea is good, everyone else is bad. But we're actually using the collective intelligence to democratizing how these ideas are being calibrated, but also voted for having the best potential to solving these missions, and to see how we can finance them, whether it is crowdfunding or if it is going to be through other channels. So we are experimenting with different business models there. And the ideas that get to go into implementation stage can be, the community that has been following this mission can follow the progress of these initiatives. So that is the whole, that is the idea.
Well, it's I can understand when you said like it's a huge idea, but it's also I believe so much needed platform. I mean, which has a deep purpose in itself, but it is also so much value in connecting and yeah, basically creating a space for new initiatives to happen and then help them, to launch as you described. Is there what are the next steps that you are currently on, and how can people engage, or what kind of support do you need right now?
Something I realized a while ago is that even though we are a few people working with this, we are far too few. If this project is going to succeed in the long term, I mean, we are going to, of course, roll this out in smaller segments. So we're not aiming for this final idea that I just presented, but there are other smaller products coming out along the way. Is that we need to unite in purpose. So anyone out there who feel that this idea resonates with you, please get in touch. I mean, everyone is needed in this journey, and I believe that if you're gonna make it, more this way, we need all to start saying, okay, how can we contribute in our own way with whatever resources we might have. Yeah, so yeah, anyone, any place, I will share my email with you, and please drop me a line, and we can have a conversation.
Yeah, so any change makers out there that feel the calling for this initiative, see purpose in this, please contact Paham. Where can people go? Where can people learn more about this great project?
So at the moment, we have a website which is on www.forthisworld.org. So ForThisWorld in one word, .org. And there you have some basic information. It's more of a digital business card at the moment. And the intention with the existing website is for us to launch the idea and start creating communication around it, to reach out to people like you and everyone who might hear this after this call to join in. So, and parallel to that, we are designing and testing our idea with our audiences. So
yeah, I mean, for me, that were basically the questions I had. Is there anything you feel like you want to address, you want to share with the world? Here's your chance.
Well, the calling question would be, have you ever had an idea on how to improve the world? And do you think if there is anyone else out there who shares the same passion to solve what you want to solve?
Yeah, I think we can just leave it with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paham, for joining, and all the best for this world. Unite in purpose. I will be following this process very curiously, and I think there will be co-creation possibilities for many initiatives and for many people. So good luck.
So before we go, can I just share my email?
Yeah,
I do it
absolutely.
via slide here, so that anyone who wants to get in touch can do it. So there you go, guys. Parham at ForThisWorld.org.
Great. So I will just end this here, and then people can find the email.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jens. And Godspeed, everyone. See you on the other side. Cheers. Bye-bye.